Hi, my name is Christopher Gutierrez from Manzi Appraisers and Restoration, and the angels are back. And it was quite the journey getting them to this place. So they were super dirty, very dusty. They had coats of dust on them. I couldn't actually believe that it was that thick. It was like something out of an old horror movie or something. They were just so coated with dust. In fact, I didn't even realize the color was as rich as it was until we took the initial coat of dust off of it. So to start, what we had to use was basically a very soft brush with very fine bristles, and I would take it with a handheld vacuum cleaner and just brush the dusty parts of the angel very lightly, and it would create this cloud of dust, and then that would get sucked into the vacuum. And then once that initial coating was taken off, then I could take Q-tips and deionized water and go through and remove layers of the dust very carefully in circular motion. Once that was cleaned off, then I could see that the polychrome paint was stable in some places and unstable in others. Some of it was chipping off. It had to be refilled and repainted and matched as close as possible to the original paint. The good news is that because these are so old, they essentially had what you would call a Neapolitan or a Naples palette, or even a Renaissance palette, meaning that it was essentially 3 primary colors in black and white, and you can pretty much get all of the colors you need off of that. Believe it or not, the colors black and white are the hardest to match of all the colors when doing restoration work, because there are just hundreds and hundreds of different combinations of whites and blacks. But the actual colors, anything of the browns, the blues, the oranges, were much easier. It also allowed for me to see how many previous repairs and restorations had been done on these pieces. It was quite evident upon getting close to these that they had been damaged. They'd either fallen or been dropped at some point and had broken into several pieces, each and every one of them, even splitting up the middle, it seemed like. The wings were severely damaged in places, and you could tell where a previous repairer had filled in putty entire regions of the wings, so that made it difficult to do further stabilization of the wings, because some of it was just old putty that had been put in place and then carved and painted. So here's what we did with the trumpets. 2 of them were missing from the beginning. We didn't have them, nobody knows where they were. So what we did was fabricate 2 new ones from scratch. And the way that worked was initially to turn 2 new ones on a lathe. For those unfamiliar with a lathe, it's a piece of wood that's put on a spinning mechanism that spins very fast, and then you take blades and hold it down onto the wood, and it cuts the wood. And this is how you get to make chair legs and table legs and things like that have that turned round look to them. In this case, we did that with the horns so that they had a taper at the very end that would then fit in the angel's mouth and then have the horn as you would imagine it to look. After that, we had to distress the wood and add gold leaf, and what that means basically is that we had to apply blades or hit the wood with a piece of metal or something to put little dings and dents into it, and apply gold leaf, and then a couple of coats of different pigments of paint, of reds, of browns, to match the antique look to it, and then a final coat of amber shellac to give it more of that aged gold look. So the big takeaway for this kind of work for me is that I am just a caretaker. I am just part of a chain of maintenance and caretaking for these pieces. Working on these was not about me. It was about the pieces, and it was about maintaining something so old and so rare for future generations to come. It's about the Old North Church. It's about the city of Boston and our very storied history. And I am just so honored to be a part of it.